In this episode,
Saturday night, as soon as we were done, I was ready to start editing. That was like one of the windows that I had. And then another window was like the next morning. I was like, well, I guess I'll get started now then. So I wasn't even able to have it up Sunday night. But I mean, it's up now. But and by the time people listen to, by the time it wasn't pretty.
You couldn't get it up on Sunday night, but it's up right now. Yeah. I hear you, Chad.
That's because I picked the topic. It's going to be a good one.
Welcome. You're listening to PaleoCheeze Podcast, episode 34, Serial Killers and Empathy.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Bannister.
And I am Chad Lutsky.
And you're listening to PaleoCheeze Podcast, part of the Project Entertainment Network. We've got an amazing show today, Chad. It's going to be tons of fun, bro.
You know, you said we had an amazing show last week.
It was.
And I got to be honest.
Was it bad?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
I think so.
Wait, what was the topic? I picked it, dude, didn't I?
Yeah, it was advanced technology, in pitting things against each other, a cell phone versus a phone, and
I thought you'd do better, Chad.
You thought I'd do better?
I thought you'd do better. I thought, well, dude, you're old enough. I figured you knew that technology, man. I thought that at one time that was the fancy tech for you, dude, and that you were like. But then when you let the cat out of the bag. When you were talking about Atari or something, you said like you weren't all into Atari, and I'm like, dude, this is the wrong topic. Like, what did I do, man? I can't believe we did this. That's why I said I need Mary's stuff, man. Mary's topic selection.
Here's the thing, man. I was never that much into technology until the last maybe 20 years. You know, like I spent my childhood. Yeah, I watched TV, but I built a lot of forts and I rode a lot of bikes. And I was always outside and playing in sports. I played a lot of sports on golf leagues, on bowling teams. I played baseball for 6 years. I played tennis. So,
what's your best score in bowling, bro?
Only like 220, I think, 220 something.
Yeah, I've had it somewhere around there. I've been over 200, but not very often. Yeah.
But it's been a while, and I used to bowl all the time, and I haven't golfed in a long time either. But
I can imagine you bowling, bro, with a bowling shirt. I can imagine you golfing, dude, in your golf outfit.
Heck yeah.
Looking all dapper and stuff, dude. Yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't do that. And I didn't have a bowling shirt. I just wore my whatever. But
what? You would now. You're too stylish, dude, now. Yeah, right now you would. Back in the day, dude. You were the kid who didn't play Atari. What's wrong with you?
But the thing is, and then when I had an Atari, in the late 70s, I got an Atari, and the games just weren't addicting. They weren't addictive at all. And then by the time I was 15, I was falling in love. And between 15 and 21, I spent with a girl in a band and on my skateboard. So I didn't really have anything to do with much TV, video games, any of that stuff, man. I was just out living life. So, and I should say past 21, probably more closer to 24, 25, 26. I was, just messing around with bands and skateboarding and my guitar and stuff. So I some of that technology stuff, it was like, I remember it, but I don't care.
Sucks, dude. Like I said, man, I just kind of figured, and I thought it'd be fun because, a lot of the stuff we talk about, like typewriters and VHS and audio things to do with audio, things that require editing, even smartphones, that's a big one. And so, I mean, right there is 4 out of what? I think we only did really 9.
I guess it was out of my wheelhouse. So when I edited that episode, it was like, yeah, this is lame. I could just see it in my face.
Look, man, that's when you've got, man, I wish you would have told me, because I would have said, look, that's when you got to pizzazz it up, Chad. You got to put in the you got to put in the noises, dude. The blank. You got to do that and do the the cut shots, anything to distract people from the bad content.
Well, we were running late as it was in editing, and I was really behind with it, and I signed up for editing that one. So
you learned something, dude. You learned something big. Other than that, I can pick some terrible topics. You also learned that that YouTube sucks, dude.
Yeah.
That when you do a live show and you're streaming from a platform like StreamYard, like we do, and it goes to YouTube, it might take like a day to process that, where you can't download it to edit, you can't anything. Yeah. And I that's why I used to, when I was doing live shows all the time, I'd pull it from anywhere else, because anywhere else, Facebook right away, boom. Soon as it's up, man, you can download it perfectly fine. YouTube, yeah, good luck, son.
Yeah, because Saturday night, as soon as we were done, I was ready to start editing. That was like one of the windows that I had, and then another window was like the next morning. I was like, well, I guess I'll get started now then. So I wasn't even able to have it up Sunday night. But I mean, it's up now. But and by the time people listen to, by the time it wasn't pretty.
You couldn't get it up on Sunday night, but it's up right now. Yeah. I hear you, Chad.
That's because I picked the topic. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So this one's a good one, and he can say that because he's picking it, and he picks really good topics. And see, this is like a luck of the draw, man. It's one of those things where we decided, we're like, well, you pick a topic, but don't tell me. And if I would have told you, you want to know, I'll tell you real quick. I'll just say it, because we can still talk about it another time, maybe. But the topic I was going to do was on medieval torture devices. It was either medieval torture devices, or it was, what was it? Oh, really, really gross things that people used to do, and in some places around the world still do, to take care of wounds and things like maggots and wounds and bleaches on the face and stuff. So, I mean, there was like a whole bunch of that, eating poop, that kind of thing,
It's hard to say if they'd work or not, because they sound really good on paper, but will they prompt a discussion?
I don't know, dude. Yeah.
There'll be a lot of back and forth with something like that. Or is it just like, ooh, check out this torture device?
Yeah,
and then it's like, that's what gross.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, so I suck at this, man. Yeah, you sabotaged me, dude. You've set me up.
You picked a couple cool ones. You kind of started the whole thing with lists and stuff, like with there was the food one that was a blast,
and movies,
and the movies, and the Rolling Stone debacle with horrible lists.
Okay, so all right, so I've had one bad one. We were bound to. We were bound to have a bad one, and it's okay. It's me. Yeah. It's better. I sometimes I'm okay to be under that bus. I'm okay, Chad. Yeah.
So, real quick, if you're listening to this, Slow Burn on Riverside is out. I would love for you to read it. That is all.
All right.
My new book. Okay. Yeah. All right. So tonight, dude, I thought we would talk, and I don't know how much interest you have in this, if at all. I don't know if you know anything about this kind of thing. I'm sure you would know at least generally bit of it. I know you're not obsessed with it, but I thought we could talk about serial killer culture and serial killers, which includes people obsessed, particularly women, and just the psychological mindset of someone who has such a lack of empathy that they can do this over and over and over again with no, we talked about a while ago, we talked about if someone broke into my house, and it's like, how hesitant I would be to blow their head off if I was a gun owner, right?
Yeah. You would be hesitant. I'd be like, well, I don't know. I'm faulting on the side of safety, man.
If it happened, even if it was in my right to do so, I would really struggle with the fact that I took someone's life. And so it's, and I think because most of us feel like that, I think that's why serial killers are so interesting, such an interesting topic to learn about, or to read about, or watch a movie about, or biopic, or documentary.
Or listen to a song. Sufjan Stevens, John Wayne Gacy, dude, is one of my favorite. I'm serious about that. Like it's
Oh
on
yeah,
my,
yeah. You played
it's
that song
it's
for
an
me.
amazing song. It's
That's
terrible.
Yes, it is.
It's
Very
insane.
controversial.
To say the least, man.
But then you have the women who are, and I'm not talking about the chicks who like collect serial killer
Like the
memorabilia.
Manson chick.
Well, the Manson chicks were
He had
they
like
were
a
his
cult
followers.
following though, man.
Well,
And like
he had a
what
cult,
was his name? Bundy?
he had a cult following before he went to
Well,
prison.
yeah.
They had the
Yeah.
cult. I mean, they were all strung out on LSD and stuff,
Are you talking like that dude from Mandy? The guy from Mandy, dude, he's got,
No, I mean like someone's in prison, and because they're in prison for killing people, the women are attracted to it and start sending them nudes and pornographic letters and just all this fan mail, and it show up in court. If you watch like the documentary on Ted Bundy, who was a handsome guy, very charismatic, you see the courtroom hearings, and there's like hot chicks there, who are not relatives. They're not there for any legal reason or anything. They're there because he's there. And same with Richard Ramirez. I just watched a documentary on him, the Night Stalker, and hot chicks there, man. And they sent him loads of nudes when he was in there, and he was.
It's a tactic, Chad.
It's a what?
It's a tactic. I mean, some people go on Tinder, some people go on a killing spree, just different strokes, different folks. they're like, look, I wanted nudes. I wanted the lady.
That you get some conjugals one day, years down the road.
Yeah.
So you can get a quickie in there.
Yeah.
So what is there? Have you ever read a serial killer book?
No.
Okay.
No. I've watched documentaries though, and I've watched not just documentaries, but like movies inspired by their stories, like that are like Gacy, for example, or Dahmer. I haven't seen the one where he's younger. What was that one called? I Was Friends with Dahmer or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, My Friend Dahmer.
My Friend Dahmer. Yeah. I haven't seen that.
That was pretty cool.
So I enjoy watching movies about that, but I've never read a book about that, unless you want to include Adolf Hitler. And I went so far, I'm serious, man. I went so far as to read Mein Kampf. Like I wanted to understand like what was the mindset of somebody that led them. What was the train of thought and the experiences in their life that would lead them to a place where they would do things that were so horrific. Right. And so, but that's beyond that. No.
Is there a serial killer that you feel like you know a lot about them and what they did?
No, but Gacy, I would say, well, I mean, it's kind of weird because Dahmer, like I was alive and old enough to know. I mean, we watched it on the news, right? And so I followed that like crazy. And Gacy, I had watched a number of things about him.
I read the book that Jeffrey Dahmer's dad wrote. Even like the Richard Ramirez thing, that thing was going on in '85, and I don't really remember it. Like people were, dude was but he was breaking into people's houses while they slept, killing, raping these chicks and stuff, and even grabbing kids out of the bed and taking them off and messing with them and then letting them go. And there was like, I don't know if he ever got tried for any of the kids other than one, I think, but there were several kids around that same time that they were trying to find the serial killer and who were being literally stolen out of their beds with their parents home and everything, 8 years old, and just show up missing. And then they'll show back up the next couple of days. I think he only actually killed one little girl, but the rest of these kids, and he didn't seem to have any kind of preference. Some of these people were old ladies. Some of them were young and attractive. Some were really young.
Which had to be difficult to find. I mean, if you're somebody like that and there's not a pattern, I mean, because that's what you're looking for. Yeah. You're looking for patterns, anything that can help you to stop the next one. But if you're somebody who's like, well, I walked by the house and I figured, well, why not break in and kill somebody today?
Right.
Like that's going to be, I can't even imagine, man.
I don't remember like that feeling of, oh man, there's a serial killer on the loose. But I do remember when, I can't remember his name, but that show Mindhunters covered it. The guy that was killing all the black kids in Georgia. I remember, and that happened I was really young. I remember when that was happening because more and more black kids were turning up missing or murdered. They couldn't find that guy. And then I remember, other than that, the only time I remember, usually we find out about the serial killer after they're caught, like Dahmer.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even know that there's a serial killer until they're busted. And it's like, wow, they killed all
they don't
these
want
people.
panic,
Not only that, but I don't even know that, if somebody's missing, they're just missing, especially if they're in your freezer, when there's no bodies to report of, you don't know there's a serial killer.
Yeah.
So when they didn't know that there was until Dahmer was caught. And so I remember that, but the only time I can remember not being fearful, but being really, really aware and wondering and giving some thought into, wow, this could happen near us or whatever, was the DC sniper. And when people in surrounding states of DC were just randomly getting shot, pumping gas, carrying groceries.
Yeah.
That was kind of trippy because it was not like in one area. I mean, overall, generally in the US it was, but it was in, 3 or 4 different states that they were going around and doing that. And that's the only time I remember.
Wasn't he shooting out of the trunk?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's a crazy ordeal, dude. We were actually just talking, and I it's funny you are bringing up this topic because we were talking yesterday with my kids, and I was talking, and then we were talking about tragedy, and I was saying that I really love tragedy. In fact, it's my favorite thing to read, and I like the Greek stuff. I've said that before, in part because at least the earlier Greek stuff, that it doesn't end with like anything rosy. There's no, there's no moral lesson at the end. It's like, and here are the bad examples and why you should never do X, Y, or Z. That doesn't happen till later. I mean, once you get into like, after certain people in Greece, and then of course all the way up through Europe and stuff, you get it. And I said, most tragedies now, when we watch them, even though it ends with like a hero dead or something bad, most of the time there's some kind of relief, or not even relief, but almost like a silver lining. Like, it's going to be okay. You've learned the lesson. You're not going to be this scumbag here. And that's just the way that is. And there's normally somebody still alive who in some way is going to benefit from, like, even a great one that would have been an amazing tragedy and ended up being not, it still is a little bit, but is Paddleton. Paddleton, if it would have ended just dead, and that's it, but it ended with the hope of a young friend and stuff and things. And so, but I said, there's 2 movies, man, that don't have that. It's the end. It is over. It is terrible, and it's over. Requiem for a Dream and Seven. And I said, Seven is maybe one of the most brilliant movies, in my opinion, because of the way it plays itself out. And in this conversation here, it happens to be a serial killer in Seven. And so I was talking about how many times I'd seen it, what I think of it as a film, like in all of the films that I've watched, like what's my opinion of that one and Requiem. But in Requiem, you're not dealing with serial killers, but Seven, that's another level. You're dealing with the serial killer, all right.
Yeah, that was Netflix just did a really well done documentary. It's like a 4-part thing. Netflix, I'll tell you what, man, Netflix, their documentaries are amazing. I don't know if you've seen any of the ones they've put out in the last 2 or 3 years.
No,
but they're freaking awesome. I know you've heard of some of them, like what was that one that's so popular about the dude with the mullet?
Tiger King.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything in it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really it's seriously like watching a drama or a reality TV show, but it's not. And it's amazing how so much drama was involved in this, yet you've never heard about it. It's like, wow, how did I not hear about this? Is all of this? All this stuff is so freaking crazy. How did I never hear of all this stuff? Another one they did that was really good was called, they did a Henry Lee Lucas one that was really good called The Confession Killer. I thought I knew about Henry Lee Lucas, but I already knew pretty much everything I needed to know about him, but it's what the cops did. And for the first two episodes are just like, you're learning about Henry Lee Lucas and what he did and everything. And then everything after that takes a whole twist that I had no idea was going on. It's freaking crazy. It's phenomenal. And another one, is called, I think it's called Taken in Plain Sight. Have you seen that one?
To be really honest, man, I haven't seen anything on Netflix since that freaking pedo crap cutie movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no, but there's stuff on there, dude, that is good. I mean, I know it's true.
The Taken in Plain Sight one is about it's not a serial killer thing. It's about this little girl who, her family befriended this dude. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it, so I don't remember all of the details. So I'm heavily kind of paraphrasing or whatever, giving a general summarization of the thing. But this girl's family befriends this dude who just warms himself into everyone's heart in this family and starts like doing stuff like he's clearly molesting their daughter, but he's put these blinders on there. I mean, he's like, hey, I'm really struggling with, he does like grooming like you've never seen with not just the girl, the entire family. And so one day he just like ups and takes off with her and like kidnaps her or whatever, but then comes back. So he makes good with the family and he's like, oh, I did that because of this and whatever. And so they're cool with him. And then he's like,
wow.
And she's like, yeah, nothing ever happened. Cause he's like taking her out and they're like doing stuff together. But then the reason why it's so crazy is because this family just sees no red flags and doesn't want to see anything. This guy ends up sleeping with the mom and having an affair with the mom. And he's so good at his charismatic thing or whatever, or this couple is just so stupid that even in the car one day, he likes pouring his heart out to these two guys are buddy, getting close and everything. And he gives them a freaking hand job in the car. So
I don't know if he's good at it, but you're like, he's really good at playing this. And it's like, well, it is an intimate moment. And, you have to get there somehow. And so he's obviously magic man with those hands, but
dude, wow. So he's like, and then he gets the parents to let him like not only stay the night at their house, but like he's going through, I can't remember if it was depression or something. And what's helping is because he's so close to the daughter. So if I could and she's like 8 or 9. So if I can, sleep in bed with her, it helps.
What?
And they're like, yeah, okay. And so she ends up missing again one day and they've taken off. They're going to and she's in love with him. And he's got this little recorder. I think this is in the 70s. He's got this little recorder that he's recorded voices on here that are like, that he'll play while she's sleeping, that will have messages on there saying, telling the little girl that she needs to be with this guy and that
dude,
and all of this stuff like you're gonna die dude, it's freaking whacked out.
Wow.
You have to see it.
Oh yeah, I gotta get on that quick,
dude. It will blow your mind.
It'll blow my mind.
And then the other one real quick is called, have you heard of, and you probably haven't seen it, have you heard of one called Don't F with Cats?
I've heard you mention it multiple times because you say it's a really good one, but I've never seen it. No.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because somebody posts a picture or posts a little video of them killing some kittens by I think that he stuck them in a bag or something and then sucked the oxygen out of basically shrink wrap the cats or whatever using a vacuum cleaner. And then he, a little ways down the road, he posts another one of him killing cats. And so this community on this message board come together, and they're trying to find clues by things that are in the film. And they've become like this little vigilante force. We're talking like single moms and
total vengeance, bro. Yeah. I'm a cat guy, dude.
Yeah. Well, regardless if it's a bird, whatever it is, I mean, and then it gets, and then he starts escalating, dude.
Yeah. I would definitely be against killing anything else, but I would not be like part of the party of people with torches. But cats, I would be part of the party with torches, dude. Yeah. Like pitchforks and everything, dude, going to find this guy.
Yeah, he posts like 3 or 4 videos like that over the course of a year or two. And then he moves on, dude, to people. And he's freaking posting this stuff. And it's crazy.
And it's true?
How they try. Oh, it's totally true. Yeah. It's
good.
But this is the kind of thing. It's like, how did all of this go on? And it just went right.
I'm not, yeah. I didn't. Yeah. You can only deal with so much though, right? There's like empathy overload, where we have empathy in a way that these serial killers do not. But in knowing as many terrible things as we know, especially in modern times, it can be overwhelming. And people have this kind of empathy overload where they'll see something really terrible and it's just another thing. It's like, man, that sucks. And then they'll just like scroll past it because you see so much of it.
Yeah.
And you can only deal with so much. I've seen people that are just shook seeing certain things and, and then they get to the point where they're like, I just can't anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
And that's serious. But,
I'm guilty of, when I was in my teens, I saw all those like Faces of Death movies and stuff. And back when I could handle that kind of stuff, and it just
wasn't that real death, dude?
The first movie
stuff, dude, like old school.
Yeah, they were like basically snuff films, but the very first Faces of Death was a lot of staged stuff that wasn't real. But nobody knew that for years to come. But but they had other, some stuff in there that was real. And then Faces of Death, I don't know how many movies they have out, but yeah, there's definitely in the further ones, it's real deaths, even animal stuff, and then people dying and things like that.
The only kind of death I've ever seen like that, dude, is the World Trade Center guy, the falling man, or whatever that guy's called. And then another one, tsunami. Massive one a couple years ago. I mean, it was complete carnage. And there's a dude on the beach just chilling with eating an ice cream cone or something, dude, and just sitting there, blah, 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 and everybody's running, booking, and homeboy's just sitting there staring. And next thing you know, I mean, it's just like, oh, he's dead. He's not alive anymore. That's over for him. And so, but I've never. But you're also a horror writer. You're the guy that likes, the sawed off legs and stuff. It's fake, right? That stuff.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, let me. When I was between the ages of like 17 and, when I was 16, I had that real traumatic thing happen to me.
Yeah.
And I saw something absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
That most people don't see, and it's weird because it kind of had a delayed reaction on me. I mean, my life, I felt like at the time was just over,
Yeah.
But over the next couple of years, I had kind of like this, I didn't have a reaction to it like I would later. So even now when I'm watching a movie, there are a couple of things that triggered that night that I can't, not triggered to the point where I'm like in fetal position crying, but they kind of put me in a dark headspace and I don't like to see it.
Yeah.
And so if it comes on a movie, then I will usually turn my head or something like that. If I know it's coming, sometimes you don't know it's coming and then I see it, But what's weird is the reason why I bring that up is because even the next couple of years after that happened, I could handle death and watch those faces of death while I'm sitting there eating, cheeseburgers and stuff, and it just didn't faze me. But as I got older, into my 20s, then I started to become really kind of weak to that, or like I couldn't handle that. And then when the internet came out, I remember somebody turned me onto a couple websites. There's a ton of websites out there that if you want to see something that'll ruin your day, you can watch somebody kill themselves any way you can think of, because it's all on video. It's really, or you can look at pictures of crime scene photos and stuff. And they had websites dedicated to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And because of that morbid curiosity, I have spent, not in a couple decades, but when the internet was fairly new, I have spent some late nights going through, videos or pictures and stuff. And so when you said that people have seen stuff that it kind of wrecks them, that it would always, I learned that sometimes when you think you've seen it all and then you see something that you never could really imagine, and then there it is, you really wish that you never would have seen that.
Yeah.
And so I stay away from anything to do with real life stuff. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like, with the exception of like serial killer documentaries. If they show crime scene photos or something, that's for some reason I'm desensitized to it, and they're usually not that graphic, or I have a hard time. I'm kind of, I can separate myself from that.
I don't have anything like that I've seen. Even the one time where I've been the closest to, other than my daughter, right? And that's just something, but I can still watch movies like
Paddleton and stuff.
Paddleton, but it shakes me, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, big time. But I deal with it, right? Because it's my life. But the closest thing that I've ever had to that was when I worked at Studio One, with your wife, Mary.
Yeah.
And that was so messed up, man, because I had this thing where I had what I think is my first panic attack I ever had. Mm-hmm. And I was so freaked out. I didn't know what was going on, like why I was feeling that way. Mm-hmm. And I went out and I went to the bathroom and washed my face off and telling myself I'm going to be okay. And looking in the mirror, I'm like, Jeremiah, dude, are you, and I go back in this warehouse building. There's not a bunch, maybe 15 people at the most that work in there. And everybody's gone, dude. Nobody's there. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, like, was it the rapture? This is like early stuff. I was like maybe 19 years old. Yeah, I wasn't very old. And I'm thinking, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what happened. And somebody comes running out from the back and they're like, Jeremiah, you got to get back here right now. There's a guy who's dead. It was sad because most of the people who worked there did not know that guy's name. Mm-hmm. And when I get back there, everyone's standing around and we're looking down at this guy. And the owner goes up very valiantly trying to help him. Yeah. Now, this guy was quite obviously gone. Like you could tell this guy's gone. Well, he does mouth to mouth and they push and your lungs fill up with a fluid and it all came out and into the mouth and all over. And it was so, they sent us home. They were like, you got everybody go home. I don't think I even went back for like 2 days. I was real messed up by it, but I've never had since then. I've never watched anything that made me feel that way.
Because you weren't, you didn't know the guy, maybe. But yeah, I remember that happening just because my wife was the one who found him.
See, I don't remember that. I'm sure that I was told.
She walked in there, and I think she knew his name. But
yeah, he just got done eating.
He was more like a maintenance dude type of.
Yeah, he was in the back, Yeah, he went to lunch, I guess. He went up to, I think, an Italian food place up the road and then came back and, died. Yeah. And so, not many people knew him. Mary, she would be someone who would go back there. And so, she would. I had no reason to, like my job was different. And so, but that's the closest thing. So I've never had anything beyond, and again, my daughter. And if people want to see how those stories affect me, episode number 2, go back and listen. It's a very emotional episode. It is a lot different than any other episode we've done because it's a very personal and very emotional one. And so you can see that it affects me. But at the same time, because of the nature of what it was and how it happened and all that, you just keep living, and you got to do. Yeah, it's a weird, funky thing, actually.
I think that because of what I've been through, it has prepared me somehow to it comes out in my writing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the topics that I choose, and the fact that I choose to write real life horror situations rather than make believe,
like zombies and stuff.
Rather than that, rather than something like that. But it's allowed me to, like, I have I'm sure I've brought it up on the show before. I'm not, maybe not, but the biggest bone in my body is empathy, because to a fault, because it can really affect me. If I hear about something that somebody is going through and I don't even know the person, maybe it's a friend of a friend that retweeted something or whatever, and or shared something on Facebook, or it's a newspaper article that I read or something. Sometimes some things hit me and I just put myself in the person's shoes so much that it really affects me for a long time. And it hasn't done it really for a while, but there has been, somewhere here in Michigan, some man rode over his granddaughter with a lawnmower on accident. And freak accidents are I hate them. Absolutely hate them. Because they're just out of nowhere, and it's such a traumatic experience. And because I've been through something like that before, I really sympathize with the people that not only the people that are going through it, that know the people, but the people who are there, that may have witnessed something. And all I kept thinking about is this poor dude and what he must be going through, and the whole family. And because obviously it was an accident. I don't know how it happened, but when I hear something like that, dude, that affected me for weeks. And I just think about it so much, and it brings me down. I mean, I'm not like weeping and crying, but it affects my mood. And so whenever I hear about something like that, or like, a teenager killing themselves or something, dude, I could just because I've been to that point, we all have, where, like whether it be through a breakup or something like that, when you're a teen, you don't realize that you're going to live through this, that you're going to be just fine. And when you're a teen, you don't have, this is your first big life experience. And I guess I'm specifically talking about like a breakup, that first breakup when you're first falling in love, and then it ends, which unfortunately most of us go through at least once. I went through it a handful of times before I ended up getting married. But the first time it felt like, it felt like just everything was over. So when it happened again, it felt like everything was over, but I had the experience of snapping back from it, even though it took a bit. And for someone to not allow that time and just end it without the foreknowledge of knowing that you're going to look back at this as, maybe not laughing at this bad memory, but you're going to look back and go, wow, I was in a really dark place, but I'm nowhere near that anymore. And I got through it. And
that's the only, I don't know. And I don't know the reasons for this, but I'm not like, I'm empathetic in that I can relate to what people are going through. And a lot of people reach out to me for help, for advice, because I've been through crazy crap, and because it's like a spectrum. So if you've been way out over here, and not just with my daughter, man, but like my brother, that was a crazy accident, goes to get his hair cut, 6 years old, never comes back the same. He's got a closed head injury. He's like a 6-year-old, and a 38-year-old body and stuff. And so it's just one of those things. And I've known people, dude, with weird accidents like that, man, where, I was just thinking of one actually. My insurance guy comes over at Knights of Columbus, and so I Knight for life, kind of thing. So he comes over to the house and he's talking to me, and I asked how he's doing, and he was just very forthright about it and said, well, I've been kind of down. He said, my brother died. And I said, really? I said, what happened? He said, well, he choked on a buffalo wing. He died. He choked on a chicken wing. And I thought, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And it was so hard to hear because I'm like, it's one thing to say you die of cancer, you got some crazy illness, you're 90 years old, or you have a heart attack, or somebody says, hey, I'm really sorry. How'd your husband die? Well, he was eating chicken wings and he choked on it. And I'm like, that to me is a freak thing. That's like, it's obviously not on purpose. He's having a great time.
Yeah.
Where people are enjoying themselves, they're having a great time. And we block it out whenever we get in a car. We block out the idea that any car around us can be the crazy maniac that's going to blow through something and hit us and we're dead. I kind of struggle in that way where, and I think it's a guarding of myself that I don't, if I feel like I'm really empathizing with somebody and I'm finding myself like just broken for them, I oftentimes will recoil and retreat, like where I'm like, I got to get out of here because it freaks me out. Like a friend of mine, and this is a more obvious one, but a friend of mine in England, her son had the same kind of cancer that my daughter had. He lived longer, and he lived closer to the average amount of time. My daughter died faster. I remember, things seemed to be going well. And then, you start seeing all these things about in the posts about how he's getting really tired and he's weak. He doesn't want to get up anymore. And his eyes are starting to not do well. And it's going down and stuff. This sunset eyes stuff. And I remember just being so heartbroken. And I shared something like, hey, this is a really cool kid. Support him and support his family. They're a really cool family. His name's Reese. It was Team Reese over in England. And, but it was so emotional. I remember I went upstairs. I'm just crying. And I'm like, I got to back away, And, but when it comes to heartbreak, that's where I'm pretty empathetic. Like I actually just did a video where I read a poem that I was going through all my stuff, organizing my poetry for publication. And I'm going through and I'm reading, that's the year that I won the award and stuff. So I'm going through and looking at my stuff and I'm realizing it's not actually nearly as good as I thought at the time. I'm way better now, but I was reading other people's too. And I read one of this girl named Amy and dude, it just hit me, man. And it's not, I think it's just so raw and it's just so honest and it's so succinct. It's not super flowery, but it's got good symbolism, it's more modern. It's not, in any kind of iambic verse. It's not like it's a more modern poem, but it was so powerful. I actually read it. And at the end I said, I have to assume that she's no longer believing that love is a game she'll never start. Right. Cause that's how it ends. Mm-hmm. That she's got a broken heart and she's devastated. And it's devastating, dude. You can tell that she really was broken, probably first love person. I mean, I don't know all the background to it, but it's so powerful that you're just like, okay, this is deep. That kind of a thing, and a sense of hopelessness. I can relate with that. I empathize with that. But when it comes with, certain things, I find myself retreating. And for survival's sake, for my own survival's sake, saying, dude, I got a lot on my plate too. And I hate saying that, but I can't be there for that. Dude, and it feels terrible because I'm not even there for Make-A-Wish Michigan. I'm not there. And Make-A-Wish Michigan's a meaningful place for me. It's a meaningful organization. It's powerful. Mm-hmm. They do amazing things. Different hospice groups. I have just been completely AWOL. And I know it's not because I have any issue with them. It's because I have to survive too. And I don't survive very good when I'm in that state. And so maybe it's not that I don't empathize. Maybe it's that it's dramatic empathy and I can't, it's so overwhelming. I'm like, look, I can't function. I got a bunch of kids, man. I got a 2-year-old. I got a freaking 5-month-old kid that's 18 pounds, dude. This kid's a horse. Well, no. not a horse. This kid, he's a redwood tree. I don't want to think about horses. So he's a redwood tree, and Clydesdale or whatever. And so I got things I got to do, and so, but I understand what you're saying.
I get that.
Yeah.
I wish that I knew how to kind of like disconnect from that. And it's mainly, like you said, if someone dies from loses a family member to cancer or something like that, it's like, that's really unfortunate. That's really sad. I can't imagine that you're really missing that person. But it's always those, wow, I didn't see that coming, and all of a sudden life is different because of this, car accident, or like with your brother, or this kind of crap happens all the time, or something is like choking on food. I mean, it's like, wow, that just seems so unfair. And again, with suicide, because it's like it's such a it's like, man, I wish that I knew you before you did that. I could really share some stuff with you. Not to say it would completely heal or fix that person. I don't know everything they're going through, but at the very least, let me try what I've learned. Let me at least try to, share with you, my own experiences with that, being in that kind of state of mind, and then being so thankful that I never carried through with, anything like that. But what a somber episode, dude.
Dude, you complained about mine. And we're going to have to delete the freaking part about the horse. You're going to have to edit that out and say, people are like, what is he laughing about right now? And be like, you'll never know. It's a terrible
It
memory.
was bad timing.
And dude, the timing was terrible. You're like, all serious?
Yeah.
Look, it was a,
I don't share my personal life very much on here. And then you freaking dropped the 5-legged horse after
I didn't know. Look, I tried, but I didn't. And dude, I really did not mean to do that. But it is a very somber episode, and you're totally busting my chops on the old tech one. And people are gonna be like, "Yeah, he comes in starting right out of the gate, throwing Jeremiah under the bus, and then he brings up the most somber episode in the world." And we hardly said anything about serial killers. we talked mainly about documentaries and stuff. Yeah. I guess maybe because I thought I don't know. I was going to ask your opinion on just like the psychology behind, not necessarily serial killer, but like the girls who are so into that, who are somehow attracted to a man who has been raping and dismembering and whatever else women, and leaving them, leaving people motherless or childless. And then this chick wants to bone the guy who did it. Yeah.
What is up with that?
I don't know. Well, and I would have things to say.
There was in this documentary, I think it was in the documentary with Ramirez, they had touched on it, and they showed like the nudes and stuff that he had gotten. Some of them, like a large handful of them, and letters and stuff. And they were talking about, I think it was that documentary, talking about the psychology behind it, with the women thinking that they can be taken care of. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. That person, it's like it's an overblown, demented version of it. It's like it's an appropriate mechanism that we have that says, if a man is a warrior and goes out and he's able to fight a lion or a bear and kill that bugger and bring it home skinned, so you have blankets at home, it's this ancient thing inside of us and women that says that is a person who can protect me, who can provide. It's part of an appeal for the hero, for example, the one who will go and slay the dragon or go into war and come back and stuff, and to have that kind of a thing. Odyssey, dude, the Odysseus, like. So it's ancient, but it's like that mechanism going in the wrong direction, and so it's a good thing to have that. It's a natural thing, whether good or bad. It's a natural thing, but then it goes extreme, and it would also be, I mean, like, a part of the appeal for, let's say, the hero that goes to war is that they're willing to put their life on the line, and it's not just that they're willing to put their life on the line but in doing so, they're willing to put themselves out way out there in a place that most people can't even think of being there.
Yeah.
And they don't, the idea is like, whoa, that again is just, it's a deranged way of looking at that, but it's the same idea. Dude, you're the kind of guy, you can get yourself to a place, especially if you're functional. If you're a functional person, like take the Bundy, you know, take what's his name, man?
John Wayne Gacy, big time. He was like man of the year in his community.
Yeah, man of the year. So, you know, but people, especially people who are attractive, right? Or have some kind of sex appeal. So we mentioned earlier, what's his name? Dune buggy guy. Swastika on his head.
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. So we mentioned him, that he already had a harem, right? He was a harem master, basically. And so he had that kind of thing happening already. But so not only did he have that, but he went where people normally don't go, and with a kind of authority too, like that you're a power person. You're the kind of person that can go in and you don't care. You want this and you'll get it, even if it's somebody dying. And again, mechanism that's essential, gone off the rails in the wrong direction. Yeah. And so that would be the gist of it. And I'm sure that there'd be people listening. They're like, well, it's more nuanced than that. I grant that. But that, I think at bare minimum, I think it's why it's not as uncommon. And it's also why, you know, I won't even say it. There's other very controversial psychological things involving men and women, and things that very curiously attract women. Not all of them, many of them are traumatized by it, just like many women are traumatized by the idea of a serial killer. But that doesn't mean that the ones that are there sending nudes, I mean, so there's different kinds of people. But there's things that are, you know, about domination and other things that is just, it's in a bad way. That's all kind of off the rails, you know, again, strong man, right? Able to take control of a situation to the extreme, you know, off the rails. And so I think that that's common in a lot of things. And I wouldn't be surprised if that played a part. Like when you were describing it, I wasn't surprised by what you were saying, even though and again, I'm not an authority on it, but that's would be my off the cuff, take, dude.
I think the people that are interested in this type of thing, I think it's two types of people. One is the person who is so blown away by somebody can do that they find it interesting, like, which is where I fall. And then I think there's the one who they're interested because they have a curiosity about it, but no, they would never follow through. And here's someone who has followed through. And so it maybe hits a little close to home. I mean, there are some serial killers. I think Ramirez is one of them, who he reveled in the idea that he was even in the same jail cell as a serial killer that he looked up to. So I would assume that once serial killers started to become a thing, had a title, you know, because until the 70s, I don't think that they had a title at all. That they kind of look up to that. The same weird mentality that someone has when they go shoot up a building or something simply because they want to see their name in the news, which doesn't make any sense. You know, they want to make the headlines. Not everybody who does that's their MO, but some, you know, so.
Well, it's getting to the place now where you're seeing more and more where they're not able to define motive. Like, what was the motive for that?
Yeah, you know, it's like, I believe that there are serial killers right now doing their thing that haven't been caught, and that some of the people that are disappearing, that's where they're disappearing to. But also, I think that there's the new kind of serial killer. Just the guy who went to all the massage parlors and went to several different massage parlors in town and killed Asian women yesterday or whatever. Just that kind of thing, or like the school shooter, or the it's like instead of this prolonged
Las Vegas, and that's believing the official narrative. Las Vegas, Newtown, I think even the Florida one, man, the nightclub. I don't even know, because it was all this weird speculation, kind of like what was that about? There was a bunch of misinformation about it, and I don't know now. What is the official position now? So I don't want to say on that one. But they've just said, well, it's over. The case was just
or people
done with some of the biggest serial killer situations in modern times. Just say, wow,
people running over people in the street, like parades or whatever, running up on the sidewalk. And so instead of like this, I'm going to sneak out at night, or I'm going to pick up a hitchhiker, I'm going to keep doing this for a couple years till I get caught. It's like, I'm going to go kill 15 people right now and then go to prison, or suicide by cop, or whatever. So, yeah. Well,
messed up, dude.
It was a grim episode, but I hope people. I know that there are podcasts dedicated to true crime, and
isn't Serial one of them?
I don't know, but I know a lot of people listen to this type of stuff. So maybe some people will find that interesting, and then they can call me out on my misfacts that I gave, because I'm not great with retaining details to relay things that I've learned.
I can't imagine there being too many people offended, though. They might be like, well, it was incorrect, but I don't know many people that are like up all night long. They're gonna write like they're gonna a diatribe. I'm real mad, Chad. You got this detail wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You even prefaced it, man. You said, look, I might get a little bit of it wrong. And look, if you do want to write that diatribe, you can do that by emailing PaleoCheeze@gmail.com. And cheese is with a Z.
All right. Well, until next time, I think next time maybe we'll do another movie, or maybe we'll have a guest.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has to. It's been a while. We haven't any guests, and that would be a lot of fun. Dude, I really want to watch a movie too, man.
Yeah.
You've been hinting at one movie. It's really absurd, and it kind of goes against some of my Catholic sensibilities and stuff. But I also know that it doesn't. Like, I've watched it. Yeah, it's not.
You're talking about Velocipaster?
Velocipaster, yeah. I wasn't going to reveal it, man.
Oh.
So Chad wants us to watch Velocipaster. He's brought it up ever since the days of Were Rooster. In fact, that was the alternative. That was going to be, I think it was one of the funny ones. I thought it was going to be Velocipaster, I thought. And then it ended up being Were Rooster instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch Velocipaster. I don't know about that. But I mean, come on, give me a break. So yeah.
And I'm calling on Jason Brandt from Final Guys right now, because he needs to hurry up and watch Birdemic with his buddy, where they do the So Bad It's Good videos, so that we can get him on the show. We're dying to see Birdemic 2.
Yes, dude, I'm waiting.
I don't know if Jason listens to the show, but if he does, freaking hurry up, Jason. I invited you back on the show.
Yeah.
To watch Birdemic 2. Watch the first one.
Yes. You have to, otherwise it just won't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying. I really just want him to watch the first one.
Yeah.
You got to see it, dude. It is forever. It's the movie that you will never forget. Right? It's kind of like the ending of, what was it? Sleepover Camp? What is it called?
Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. It's like the ending of that. Right? Yes. But it's the whole movie. So you don't wait for a big thing. You just watch it, and that's the end, man. It's worse than Laser Blast. It's worse than any movie I've ever seen. I've never seen any. Yeah,
there's a big thing in Sleepaway Camp.
No, Sleepaway Camp's a good one. I don't. Yeah. That's not the worst. No, I'm saying Birdemic, dude.
I was referring to the ending, but yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, maybe not big, but it's there.
Oh, what? That was my Chad moment. I'm all like, huh? What? I'm gonna have to do the Zoom face, dude, on me. Oh, buddy. So, all right, man.
All right, man. Until
Been
next
good
time.
talking to you, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somber episode, dude. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I got to go do something fun. Maybe watch SpongeBob or something.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Ren and Stimpy, dude.
Watch some Family Guy or something.
Yeah. Do something, man. Right.
Tickle myself.
Yep. See ya.